I used to believe my wife, Lily, was my partner in everything, a woman I could trust without hesitation. For 7 years, we had built a life together that everyone around us envied. I was proud of what we had, proud of the connection we shared. But lately, things had started to change. At first, it was subtle. The late nights she claimed were work outings, the way her phone never left her hand, the distant look in her eyes even when she smiled. I tried to brush it off. I convinced myself that I was overthinking, that my imagination was playing tricks on me. After all, Lily wasn't the kind of woman to betray me. But that nagging feeling in my gut refused to go away. One night, as I sat in our living room reviewing a case file for work, Lily came home later than usual. I could hear her heels clicking on the hardwood floor, her steps lighter than normal, almost like she was trying to sneak past me. "You're back late," I said, keeping my voice calm. Lily froze for a second before stepping into the room. "I told you I'd be out with the girls," she replied, her tone slightly defensive. Her words didn't match the tight smile on her face or the way her gaze darted to her phone, which she quickly slipped into her pocket. My heart sank. I had always known Lily to be straightforward, honest. But now, as I looked at her, I saw something else, something guarded, almost cold. "Did you have fun?" I asked, trying to keep the conversation light. She shrugged. "Yeah, it was fine. Just the usual gossip and drinks." I didn't press further that night, but my suspicions only grew. Over the next few weeks, I began paying closer attention. Lily had become distant, her affection less genuine. She would laugh at my jokes, but the laughter didn't reach her eyes. She would kiss me goodnight, but her touch felt hollow. It was the night I saw her phone light up with a message from someone named Eric that I decided I couldn't ignore it any longer. The next morning, after Lily left for work, I searched through her phone. I had never invaded her privacy before, but this time, I couldn't help myself. My hands shook as I opened her messages, scrolling past mundane chats with friends and colleagues until I found the thread with Eric. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again." My chest tightened as I read those words. I scrolled further, finding messages that painted a picture I wished I could unsee. They had been meeting for months, sharing private jokes, stolen moments, and secrets she had never shared with me. I sat down, staring at the phone in disbelief. I felt a wave of nausea, followed by a burning anger that clenched my fists. Lily, the woman I had loved, the woman I had trusted with my heart, was betraying me. But I didn't confront her right away. No, confronting her in anger wouldn't give me the justice I wanted. I decided right then that I wasn't going to be her fool. If she thought she could humiliate me, I would make sure she and Eric paid for every lie, every betrayal. I started gathering evidence. I made copies of the messages, took screenshots, and even followed her one evening when she said she was going to dinner with colleagues. I watched from my car as she laughed with Eric in a cozy restaurant booth, her hand brushing his in a way that made my stomach churn. It was painful, agonizing even, but it fueled my resolve. The next step was to learn more about Eric. A quick search revealed he wasn't just a friend from work like Lily had claimed. He was married, his wife an unsuspecting woman named Laura. I reached out to Laura anonymously, sending her screenshots of the messages and photos of Eric and Lily together. Her response came swiftly, filled with shock and heartbreak. She wanted to meet me in person, and when we did, she was visibly shaken. "I thought he was different," Laura said, her voice trembling. "I thought we had something real." I nodded, understanding her pain. "They think they've won," I said. "They think we'll just stay silent and let them get away with this. But they're wrong." Laura and I formed a plan. We weren't going to just confront them. We were going to destroy the perfect little fantasy world they had built for themselves. The night of Lily's business trip arrived, a weekend getaway with Eric that she thought I was clueless about. I kissed her goodbye, pretending to believe her lies, and watched her drive off. An hour later, Laura and I checked into the same hotel. We waited until the second night of their trip, letting them settle into their false sense of security. Then, with cameras in hand, we knocked on their door. When Lily opened it, her face paled. Eric stood behind her, his shirt unbuttoned, his smug expression quickly turning to panic. "Surprise," I said, stepping into the room. Lily stammered. "W, what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," I replied coldly. "But I think we both know the answer." Laura pulled out her phone, recording their stunned faces. "You think this is funny?" Eric growled. "Not funny," Laura shot back. "But it's definitely going to be memorable." This was only the beginning of the fallout. Over the next few weeks, the evidence Laura and I collected was shared with their workplaces, friends, and families. Eric's wife filed for divorce, and his once pristine reputation was left in tatters. Lily was fired after her affair with a married co-worker became public knowledge. But for me, the real satisfaction came when I served Lily with divorce papers. She begged, pleaded, even cried, but my decision was final. "You threw this marriage away the moment you decided I wasn't enough," I told her. "You don't get to come crawling back now." Over the following months, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. The betrayal had left scars, but it had also taught me my worth. I moved to a new city, started fresh, and focused on rediscovering myself. As for Lily, her life fell apart. The affair she thought would bring her happiness only brought regret and isolation. She tried to reach out, sending messages full of apologies and promises to change. I didn't reply. Her regret would never undo the damage she caused, and I wasn't going to let her back into my life. In the weeks following the confrontation, Lily's world began to crumble faster than I had expected. Her confident demeanor, the one that had allowed her to lie to my face, seemed to vanish the moment she realized she had lost control over the narrative. The first week, she bombarded me with texts and calls, all variations of the same desperate plea. "Please talk to me, Daniel. I know I messed up, but I can fix this. Don't throw away everything we've built together. I don't know what I was thinking. You have to believe me. I love you." Each message made me angrier. Love? How dare she talk about love after the months of deceit, after laughing at me behind my back while she slipped off to meet Eric? The audacity of her words only strengthened my resolve. The call stopped when I blocked her number. It wasn't enough to shut her out completely. She started showing up at my workplace, waiting in the parking lot with tear-streaked cheeks and a pitiful expression. I ignored her every time. I didn't owe her my attention, not after what she had done. While Lily begged for forgiveness, Eric was dealing with his own fallout. Laura had wasted no time dismantling his carefully curated image as the perfect husband and upstanding professional. She filed for divorce within days of our confrontation, sending the evidence of his infidelity to his employer and closest friends. Eric was a man who thrived on reputation, and without it, he was nothing. His boss fired him for violating the company's ethics policy. His social circle turned on him, disgusted by his actions. Laura kept me updated as his life unraveled, and each update brought a twisted sense of satisfaction. I wasn't proud of the revenge, but I wasn't ashamed of it either. It was justice. As I watched Lily and Eric fall apart, I couldn't help but reflect on the years I had spent with her. There were moments, small, fleeting moments, when I wondered if I had missed something. Were there signs of who she truly was from the beginning? I thought back to our wedding day, how her smile had lit up the room. I had believed she loved me. I had believed she wanted the life we built together. Those memories felt tainted now, like a cruel joke at my expense. Still, not all the memories were bitter. Some were just sad. The long walks we used to take on Sunday mornings, the way she used to hum while cooking dinner. I thought about how hard I had worked to make her happy, only to learn that it was never enough. The bitterness of betrayal was always lurking, ready to twist even the fondest memories into something painful. Word of Lily's affair spread quickly, thanks to our circle of friends and the viral nature of the evidence Laura and I had exposed. People who once adored her now avoided her. At work, whispers followed her everywhere. Colleagues who used to respect her turned cold. She had been so confident in her ability to juggle the lies, but now the truth was out, and she couldn't hide from it. I heard through mutual friends that she had been forced to resign, unable to withstand the judgment and shame. Her carefully constructed image of independence and strength was crumbling, leaving her exposed and vulnerable. While Lily's life spiraled, I focused on rebuilding my own. For the first time in years, I started thinking about what I wanted, what made me happy. I joined a local running club, something I had always been too busy to pursue during our marriage. The miles I ran each morning became a form of therapy, a way to process the storm of emotions that still lingered. I also reconnected with old friends, people I had unintentionally drifted away from while trying to maintain the illusion of a perfect marriage. They welcomed me back with open arms, offering support without judgment. One evening, I sat down with a notebook and made a list of all the things I had given up for Lily. Hobbies, dreams, even small pleasures like reading late into the night without worrying about waking her up. Slowly but surely, I began reclaiming those parts of myself. Months later, during a business trip to another city, I met someone new. Her name was Anna, and she was nothing like Lily. Where Lily had been guarded and secretive, Anna was open and honest. Where Lily had been quick to deflect blame, Anna owned her flaws with humility. We met at a networking event, and what started as a casual conversation turned into hours of laughter and genuine connection. For the first time since the divorce, I felt a spark of hope. I didn't rush into anything. I had learned the hard way that trust had to be earned, not given blindly. But as the weeks turned into months and Anna became a part of my life, I realized that not everyone was like Lily. One evening, out of the blue, I received an email from Lily. It had been almost a year since our divorce, and I hadn't heard from her in months. "Daniel, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need to say this. I'm sorry, not just for what I did, but for how I treated you. You didn't deserve any of it. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know that losing you was the biggest mistake of my life." Her words were sincere, but they didn't move me the way they might have months ago. I had healed. I had moved on. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Looking back, I realized that Lily's betrayal had been a turning point, not just in my marriage, but in my life. It forced me to confront painful truths about love, trust, and self-worth. It taught me that sometimes the greatest act of strength is walking away from someone who doesn't value you. I didn't hate Lily anymore. I didn't pity her either. She had made her choices, and she would have to live with the consequences. As for me, I had found peace. Peace in the quiet mornings when I ran through the park, peace in the laughter I shared with Anna, and peace in knowing that I had the strength to rebuild my life. Lily was a chapter of my past, but my story was far from over.